Thank you for tuning in, Staying Positive with WithNyleshea. Thank you for those who has been watching my videos and has been liking and subscribing. I want to clear up a couple of things about my videos that I have recently posted. My daughter's father is adopted, and his birth mom is the one that had the HIV and gave him that during birth. So it's not his mom that some of you may know. And also, the videos that I'm posting is not to hurt anybody's feelings. It is to express how I was feeling when I first found out what I was going through in my pregnancy, for those who are confused. Thank you. This video, I'm talking about my daughter Amazyn, and I also have my mom with me, Giselle.
Okay, so what made you name her Amazyn?
Well, we was trying to, I always knew I was having a girl, and we was at my aunt's house, and I was like, I don't want just no ordinary name. Like, I want something that sticks out, that speaks. Like, her name has to have power behind it. And my aunt was like, you know, well, my mom was like, let's name her Blessings. And I was like, nope, I'm not feeling it. Then my aunt Nadia was like, how about Amazyn? I was like, yes, I love it, I love it. And we was debating on her middle name. We was debating on her middle name. And we was like, okay, I'm gonna name her after my aunt. So her name is Amazyn Nadia Womack.
Okay, so previously in the video before, you said you were going into seizures while you were pregnant with Amazyn and before you gave birth. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes. Well, I really don't remember much, because when you have seizures, one of the side effects, you do lose your memory. But what I do remember is that, you know, during my pregnancy, I would get headaches, like really bad headaches. And, you know, I kept telling the doctors or whatever, and they was just like, you know, take Tylenol. That wasn't working. But October the 12th, that day, I had woke up and I couldn't see in front of me. I could see out from my peripheral. And I told my mom, like, Mom, you know, I can't see in front of me, but I can see from my peripheral vision. And she was like, okay, well, just go, you know, take a shower or whatever, and then come lay back down. I'm going to call the doctors. I'm in the shower. That was the hardest thing to do, to try to wash up, and you feeling dizzy and couldn't see. So I'm washing up or whatever, and I get out the shower, and I was like, Ma, I really can't see. And I feel like I'm wobbling back to lay on the bed. I lay on the bed, and next thing I remember, it was just pitch black. And my mom was there watching all of this happen.
Well, when she lied on the bed was like really laying here below me, and I can see her eyes roll to the back of her head, and her stretching out her hands, and her face had this like strong, it was expression, a strong expression. And as I'm looking at her, I start screaming to her, Nyleshea, Nyleshea, and she's going into a seizure. This is, my child never had seizures a day in her life, and this is part of what she had to deal with being pregnant. Her blood pressure shot up, which we never knew that either, that she was having eclampsia instead of preeclampsia. She was going through eclampsia, but at the time we didn't know that's what it was. I got down on my knees and was trying to get my baby to come back. You know, her eyes were still roaming in the back of her head. I'm screaming for help. My neighbor came in and seen what was going on. My daughter came running in. She dialed 911. And my neighbor did a pressure point to her back, to her lower spine, and it kind of brought her out of it. But while she was in this seizure, she was foaming from her mouth. It was very hard for me to watch, you know. And Amazyn at the time was in her stomach, because she was pregnant at the time. We got the ambulance to finally come, and when the ambulance came, I can see her in the back of the ambulance as I'm sitting in the front of the ambulance, and I see her again folding up her hands and shaking her hands like this. And I said, oh my gosh, she's having another one. So she had another one. She had 3 seizures in that one day. And on her 3rd seizure, it was in the hospital. And she ended up having another seizure, which her sister was there to witness that. And in the 3rd seizure, she bit her tongue real bad. And it has caused her to slur now when she talks. And this extends from her being HIV and dealing with her body, dealing with the medications and different things like that.
Okay, so overall, how did you feel when you saw your daughter going into these seizures, and how did you feel when you found out she had HIV?
Well, I've been I've been a certified nurse assistant since 1995, and I have also worked in hospitals. I have worked with people with all kind of diseases, heart conditions, different things like that. But everything that I have learned about my nursing, and I was also studying to be a nurse, everything I have learned about nursing went right out the window because this was my daughter it was happening to. It was like I felt helpless. I felt really helpless. I was scared for her more so because this is not something that was common for her to do. Having seizures. I didn't even know it was a seizure at the time. I just knew that my daughter's eyes was foaming in the back of her head, and she's foaming out her mouth. And when I say foaming, it was a lot of it. When I found out my child was HIV positive, I was at the house with her, and the phone call came in, and the doctor was on the phone with WithNyleshea. She was sitting at the table. I was sitting on the couch at my mom's house, and the doctor started talking to her, and all I could see was WithNyleshea's expression on her face, and then she said, "Mommy, I'm HIV positive," and I can just remember it just like it was yesterday. I hollered, I broke down so bad, I fell to my knees like, why? And a lot of my questions, why her, is because this child right here, I have no problems with her. I never did, never really had no problems with her. Like she said in the beginning, I raised her until she was about maybe 2 or 3, about 3 years old, and then I let my mom raise her because the streets I had went to the streets, turned to the streets, and I got her back when she was about going on 13. And she's a giving child. She's really loving. She's honest. One thing I can tell you about her, she will tell you something, and she'll be honest about it. She'll tell you what she did wrong and how she played the part in it, And all I kept asking God was why? Why my daughter? Why this good child? Why such a good child? Why does she have to go through this? And one of the things I witnessed, some of the things I witnessed as this started taking toll on her was my daughter's color changed. She got yellow skin, yellow eyes, I was really scared for her. I was really scared for her. She stayed sick. She stayed wanting to lay down. And I didn't know what to think, You never think this can happen to you, because I never thought it can happen to me until it happened, or to my daughter. I never thought we would deal with something like this in our life, But throughout it all, we got her, and she got her health. And Amazyn is truly amazing. But there's still some days that I notice my child is tired a lot. There's some days that she can get up and function just like a normal day. And then there's some days that she just want to lay down, And when she decided that she wanted to do stuff like this, talk to the public and talk to people, I thought it would be a good idea, but I was like, people will have negative things to say to her, or, people will come across to her. and it will hurt some people's feelings, but it wasn't about the people. It wasn't about the people at all. I had to step out of me and let my daughter do what she needed to do for her healing. And I noticed that, you know, one of the things about her is that since she decided to do this, she smiles more, you know, she's wanting to reach out to other people that may be going through this and let them know that this disease has no face, no matter what. Protect yourself. You may know somebody for a very long time and don't know them at all, you know. But pretty much Nyleshea is what I call a blessing. Just like Amazyn is a blessing, Amazyn. Nyleshea is very, very courageous, you know, to do something like this. There's so much I can say about Nyleshea. But this is Nyleshea's time, and I'm going to let y'all go ahead and continue to talk to Nyleshea. And just let you know I love you, baby.
I love you too, Mom.
Keep doing what you're doing. Mary, how did you feel when you seen your sister having a seizure? What was the thoughts that was going through your head? What did you do?
Well, all I remember, I got out the shower, was laying down. At the time, I was also pregnant with my son. So I was laying down. All I hear is, help, help, Mary, call 911. And I'm like, what's going on? So I see Nani laying down, and she's in a stiff position like she's a deer in headlights. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I jump over the bed. I knew what it was because I've seen somebody have a seizure before. So I called 911. I was upset because, you know, they kept asking questions because, you know, they have to keep you on the phone. And at the time, I'm just like, oh my gosh, is she dying? What's going on? That's the thoughts that's running through my head. And I'm calling. They were like, is she responsive? And I'm like, no, she's not saying anything. She's not even making any gestures. She's stiff. And they was like, okay, so we're sending first responders out to help y'all. And I'm like, okay. So I keep looking because I'm getting impatient. And I'm just like, where they at? They're supposed to be here by now. If the 5 minutes it took them to get there, it felt like the longest 5 minutes of my life. And I'm just like, okay, so is she dying? I'm like, Mom, what's going on? And at this point, I'm bawling, I'm in tears. I'm just scared. And I open the door and I keep looking out, I keep checking. And I've seen this man named Joel, who also helped my grandmother. And I'm just like, can y'all please help her, please, please. And they're like, what's going on? And he's running up the stairs trying to get to Nyleshea. And I was like, I don't know, I think she's having a seizure. So he, of course, he finally got her on the side. All the foam that she had that she was choking on fell out her mouth. And she finally came back and was like, Mommy. And she kept calling Mommy. And I'm like, okay, she's okay, she's talking now. And when the ambulance got there, they put her in the seat, took her down the steps, got her in the back of the truck. Now at this point, I don't know what's going on. My uncle arrives, I get in the car with him, and he was like, what's happening? And I was like, Nani's having seizures, I don't know what's going on. And they were like, okay. So now my uncle, at this point, the ambulance is pulling off. My uncle, we're following behind the ambulance. They get out the truck. They stop at the stoplight. They get out a woman gets out the ambulance truck, and she was like, you know, you can't follow the ambulance because it's against our policy. And I'm like, you can't follow the ambulance? How is she supposed to get to the hospital? So my uncle was like, okay, so we're not gonna follow y'all. Meanwhile, we're still following them to get to the hospital, the woman's hospital, because she was pregnant. She can't go to the regular hospital. So we get to, they were like, go get all the prescriptions Nani has ever taken. So we're going to her OBGYN. We get pulled over by the cops because we were speeding in the school zone. We let them know what's going on. They were like, okay, just get there safely. So come to find out we don't need it because they have everything on file. So then we race back to the women's hospital. We get there, and my family was telling me, you know, she had another seizure in the back of the truck. And at this point, I don't want to be away from my sister. I just want to make sure she's okay, make sure my niece is okay. And she just was like, my aunt said that she remembers her, like, trying to find her. Like, she still couldn't see, but she could hear her name being called. So she's trying to look, and she still couldn't see. They finally got her back into a room, got her stable enough to see people. So I remember it's me and my other cousin, we're sitting back there, and we're talking, Nani's talking, laughing with us and everything. And then she was just like, she just stopped for a second, and then her eyes started rolling back again. And I said, Nani, are you okay? She just wasn't talking. I was like, okay. And then I seen her body stiffening up. I pulled the plug and was like, y'all please come help her. They was like, try to keep her hands down. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to hold her hands down. It's not working. I run out to the hallway, and I'm like, please, please help her, please. And I'm just like,
y'all okay?
my cousin runs to the waiting room because she didn't want to see no more. And I'm like, I'm not leaving you, Nani, I promise. I'm staying right here. And I just sat there, and I'm watching all these nurses trying to hold her, from keeping her from biting her tongue, keeping her from damaging anything, her or the baby. So they're all holding her down, trying to let her come back from the seizure. I'm just sitting there staring like, what's going on? Please, please don't let my sister go. And she had finally came back, and I'm like, Nani, I'm still here, I promise. And at this point, my mom had came back into the room, and she was like, where's Nani? I was like, she's right there. And my aunt come by, she's holding me, and she was like, Mary, you shouldn't be seeing this. You gotta remember you're pregnant too, you can't stress. And I said, I promise, Nani, I would not leave her. And I'm just like, okay, she finally came back. I was like, Nani, are you okay? She's like, yes, I'm fine. She said, but I think I bit my tongue. I was like, you did. You got a lot of blood coming out your mouth. And she was like, okay. And at that point, she just looked so weak. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. So I promised I wouldn't leave her. But at the same time, I had to think about my son and my stomach, making sure I'm okay. I didn't want to leave the hospital, but they were like, just go home, try to get some rest. I remember that night, I only got an hour of sleep. And I just kept waking up, and I'm just like, where's Nani? I hope she's okay. And then I remember I called Nani, but I had to remember she didn't have her phone. And when I finally, the next morning, I finally got back to the hospital, and I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. They had put her on some medication. They had to put her on 2 or 3 different medications for her to calm down from the seizures and prevent her from having any more. And that day I remember going to get her something to eat and coming back, and they were like, you know, they may have to go ahead and induce her labor and go ahead and get the baby out because they don't want her to have another another seizure with her in there. So I was like, Amazyn, did you just want to come out? Is that what you wanted us to do? You just wanted to come out and meet everybody? And then a couple hours later, they were like, she was born. I finally went to see her. She was beautiful. And I just remember her being exhausted from her C-section and all the seizures. And they kept her for a couple of days. And I was just happy that my niece was okay. Even though she was a little premature baby, I was just like, as long as she's okay, I'm happy. And as long as Nani's okay. And ever since then, I've just been going every day, keeping up with her blood pressure, making sure she stay on top of her medications, making sure Amazyn's good. And that's how we go through our day.
Wow. So you sisters are inseparable, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And this is Amazyn. This is
Say hi,
Amazyn.
Mana.
Would you like to say anything?
Say hi, Mana. Say hi.
Yeah. Okay.
Mana. Meme. Oh, God. Go, Mana. 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 Go, Mana.